I am looking forward to speaking with you. Got a lot of questions.
Okay.
So let's introduce yourself. Tell us what genre you're in and anything you want us to know before we get started.
Okay. I am Kaylynn Hunt. I have been published since 2011 was my first book. And I write in multiple genres. Mostly I have contemporary romance, some thriller, a paranormal romance, a romance. Um and that's about it right now. But I plan on I'll just be all over the place. So
Okay. So your catalog spans multiple genres, and you have women's fiction. I wouldn't even say that Sign to Eat is just women's fiction because that's urban fiction as well. So, but
yeah, so I sometimes have a hard time trying to categorize my books because I feel like it's a few of them that cross genres. So,
mm-hmm.
and it's they only give you so much to pick
Yeah,
from and how. So it's always sometimes I'm like I don't know.
you have erotica with the
Yes,
Zaddy series,
yes.
Satisfaction Guaranteed. Jesus. Um, you have psychological with Highway 725 with Octavia Grant,
Hmm.
and you have anthologies with the Cipher series. So, which which by the way, I want to say is an incredible lineup for
Thank you.
both books. Do you see yourself as a multi-genre writer, or do you feel drawn to one particular genre more than others?
Multi-genre because I don't like putting myself in a box
Mm,
one, and my mind goes all kind of which ways, and I don't want to be stuck in I'm trying to write this and it's not really the way it's going because honestly when I started writing how not how Satisfaction Guaranteed, I was just writing a romance, but as I was so as I'm writing it I was like it's a series. So I was talking to the girls. I said, "This is it's a little spicy. It's giving erotica. This is yeah."
mhm. Definitely. So, what are the challenges and rewards of writing across multiple genres?
I think the challenge is that I don't have like a niche fan base
Mhm,
because I don't just write romance. Like girls going to look for romance. I don't
mhm,
just write one thing. So I think that's a challenge.
mhm.
But for me, like I said, I don't like putting myself in a box. I want to write like whatever comes to mind. I don't want
Yes.
to be um I guess, you know, shackled to
Yeah.
one thing. And because then I feel like it would be harder for me to write.
Yeah.
Sometimes like right now I'm having an issue with focusing and that is more so that I have so many ideas and so many things going on that I
Mhm.
need to just zone in on one thing, get that done, and move on to the next one. So,
I feel that. Do you approach each genre differently in terms of the writing process, the research, character development?
not really, cause I tell you what, it depends because like with Satisfaction Guarantee, I actually did character profile for Demetrius, cause I think that was probably my first male led book, like
Hmm.
in general. So I did do like a character profile so I could get more into, and it did help me because I was like more into what his personality was, what his how he would handle stuff and do stuff. So, but it just depends because sometimes I come up with the idea for the story. Sometimes I just come up with a title. And then I'm not always, sometimes I'm character driven, sometimes I'm plot driven. So it just depends on the story all the time.
Okay. So, what sparked your love for storytelling? Was it a book? Was it a person or a personal experience?
No. So I kind of always been creative, and I used to just love to write. I wrote poetry. I used to make up songs. I didn't. This is when I was way younger, and then when I was like in middle school, I used to make up stories for my friends because I just like making up stories, and I didn't really seriously think about writing, but I had been thinking like I want to write a book. I want to write a book, and the book that I read that really put it in my head that I could probably do this was Waiting to Exhale, because it was so relatable. It was just about some friends. And I'm like, this book, like not that I felt like it was easy, but I felt like I got stories I can tell. Like I can tell these types of stories and it be received. So that was I think that's probably what put the idea in the back of my head more. So like, okay, you really can do this. And so it just kind of grew to, I want to write a book. I want to write a book, until I actually wrote a book. And
can you recall your first book you ever wrote?
the first book I wrote, I published, that was Love with a Vengeance. So, but I wrote it in 2007. It didn't get published until 2011.
Wow.
It was more so, I want to write a book. I wrote it, and I was like, I did it. But then I was kind of, now what? And at that time, when I actually did publish it, Create Space was around. So I went through Create Space. When I learned about Create Space, I was like, okay, I can do this. And actually I joined a book club, and basically I talked to my friend who's Ebony, our president, and I had told her, like, I wrote a book. She was like, let's get it out. Let's do it. You got support. You got this. And so that's kind of how it took off from there.
Writing in different, writing in different genres. I'm guessing it requires like a tone, a style, a narrative technique. How do you manage to maintain this distinct voice across all of them?
I think that's a good question. So I think it's more of just the way my brain works. So I'm constantly, like, my gears are constantly churning. So even when I'm writing and I'm on one scene, stuff just comes to me like, okay, this is next. But it's my style of writing, and how I'm telling a story. I think it's just how it comes off. But I try to make sure that key points get in there, and I lead the story, but I always know it's a twist coming. Like, I know that, and I purposely write so you don't know what the twist is that's coming.
You good with that? I'm gonna tell you, yeah, you good with that. Do you find that your readers follow you across the genres, or do you have different audience for each genre that you write in?
So I think, like, my core readers follow me across the genres just because, they enjoy my writing, and it's Kaylynn, I'm gonna get it. Let me see what this one is about. Right. And then I think there are people that find me in certain genres, and maybe they expect me to always be there. Yeah. But and so I really don't know how that comes off for people that just want romance, because there's some romance in almost all of my books, but they're not really romance stories. The only one that's a true romance is probably Satisfaction Guaranteed, and then Complicated Simplicity. That's the paranormal romance. The other ones, they are not so happy endings. So,
is there a common theme or like message that ties all of your work together?
I think the message mostly, I guess in all of them, there's some like lesson to learn. Like, stop taking people for granted. I think, and it's a theme that might go across all of them. I don't know if there's like a clear message that I write into them. No, but I think there's always an undertone of do the right thing and
Yeah.
not take people for granted type situation.
Okay. So, which genre feels the most natural to you? The one where writing just flows effortlessly.
Contemporary,
Mhm.
I think. Um, yeah,
Contemporary. Okay.
yeah.
On the flip side of that, right? Which genre challenges you the most and pushes you out your comfort zone?
I haven't gotten there yet because I plan on writing a fantasy book, and that is one that I, and I know it's a lot more to it than what I'm because I need to build a world and I need to come up with these creatures. So I haven't tackled that one yet. So I think that one, and I like challenging myself.
Yeah.
So I think that one probably would be probably my hardest one to write because but I have a couple ideas. And then I was watching you. Who were you talking to? You was talking about the gargoyles. I think you was talking to Nicole. And when you said that, and I used to watch gargoyles, and I can totally see them as bikers. Like I, I heard you.
Y'all, that's all I'm waiting for one of these authors. Give me, I don't care if it's urban fiction, erotica. I need that like black ASAP. So, have you ever attempted that? Have you attempted a genre that you ultimately decided wasn't for you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't think I will write horror.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't think I'll write horror.
I think you would be
Right
good at it.
now, probably. Right now, I'm kind of in my thriller bag, so me and Octavia have Flight 725 coming out in July, but I'm also working on my own thriller. It's a crime thriller, and I have another one that's that I need. Well, I actually started that I need to write. So my next probably 3 releases will be thrillers.
See, you are talking my language because paranormal, thriller, psychological thriller, horror, and fantasy, that is my shit.
Yes.
I
So
love
that's what I'm tackling next. That's what's in my head right now. So
okay. All right. Do you consider yourself an indie author or a traditionally published or indie publishing company author?
I'm just indie.
Okay. As an indie what has your journey been like in navigating the literary space?
So my first book I published in 2011. That was the first book I put out, which was Love with a Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And where I struggled, which I know now, was basically marketing, getting out there. People know who I am, being in that space. So it was recently that I'm like, okay, I'm taking it seriously. I need to get out there. I need to be seen. I need people to know who I am. So I started doing events, and then I'm like, okay, I need to be more present on social media. Like all of that and TikTok, of course, you see all of it is, and it's been a wonderful tool because now people see me. Like I feel like it gives me more reach, and it makes it more visible. So and then recently, when I first started, it was basically I would just do it when I felt like it. So I wasn't regularly publishing. Like I did do one in 2011, one in 12, one in 13, and then I don't know when the next one came out. Like it was years in between, but it was basically because I didn't have anyone pushing me, or I wasn't pushing myself enough. And it was one of those, I could procrastinate, I could put it off, I could do whatever, but I really do enjoy writing. I enjoy making the stories. I enjoy the, especially when I get the feedback of I didn't see that coming, or because I always go for that. I always go, and it might not be extremely shocking, but it's something that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel that the indie publishing has become just as viable as traditionally publishing in the terms of reaching success and financial stability?
I think it's possible. I think it's not as viable, but it's getting there, and I think it is a lot more viable than what it used to be. As
Mm,
far as, especially with as many indie authors, it's more spread out than these 1-2 people, or
yeah,
this 5 or 10.
yeah,
We have access to so many authors now,
yeah.
and to where it's hard to keep up. So and then, like, I love reading. So for me, it's been hard to, I have to cut off my reading to write. And
Mm,
it's hard to do that. Because like, especially people keep dropping stuff that I want. Like, I have not read the dating app series yet. And I want to, I know that I'm going to read all 5 of them. And I'm like, that's taking all that away from me. I'm supposed to be writing this book. I'm like,
I feel you. I feel you. I saw that series and I was like, I'm gonna get to it. In the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna get to it.
now I got them all. I bought them. I pre-ordered all of them. So I'm supporting. I have them. I just can't get to them yet. And so, like, this summer, what I did, well, I went on a cruise and I was like, I'm not doing anything but reading. And I read on a cruise. I probably read 6 books before I got back home. So I'm learning to take a, a space to just read, and then I could disconnect and get back to writing.
What are some of the misconceptions about people? What are some of the misconceptions people have about indie authors that you wish to dispel?
With all the things that I see and people stuff that they say, oh God. So I know that there's a indie authors, they have some people have a stigma of the editing, or people can't do this, or they ex, they don't oh, thank
I
you.
know it's so cute.
They don't expect it to be at the same caliber as something traditionally published, and people need to get away from that, because all indie authors are professionals. Like, it's still a business, and they still, like, of course there are some that just put stuff out, but that's not the people that's not the core, and that's not the majority.
Now, I want to talk about Black women in literature because I have so many questions for you. So I'm gonna try to keep
Okay.
it not too long because I have a tendency to go way over. I have a curious mind, and I think that's
Okay.
why I have this podcast because I'm so
Okay.
curious. Black women have historically played a major role in the literary world, both as authors and as the backbone of the readers community.
Mhm.
How do you see their impact in today's publishing landscape?
Oh, so in today's publishing landscape, I mean, they are our bread and butter, I feel like, because any given day you can go in here, just on TikTok, and in TikTok, Instagram, all these places, and it's people, loving down this author or talking about this book, which makes other people go get it, so it's all about the word of mouth, and then supporting and sharing everything is just, I think, especially in this last year or two, has
Mhm.
catapulted us into, like, almost mainstream, or what we would consider mainstream, because we see all these authors all the time.
Mhm.
Unlike, your interview the other day, I don't know how they don't know any names of anything. How do you not see anyone? Which
Girl,
lets you
you mentioned Voldemort, and my damn lamp went out. Jesus.
See what happens?
Jesus. Lord, it don't want to work with me. Whatever. Anyway.
So, yes, to answer you, I think that like it's especially black women are the backbone. And I'm not even gonna get into the ones that don't read black authors, which I can't understand. That's another thing altogether. We're not gonna go down that road.
Yeah. Why do you think it's essential to recognize and uplift the contributions of black women in literature?
It's essential because one, as an author, you I do it because I like writing. But we always want feedback. We always need that reassurance that, yeah, you're doing a good job, or yeah, we are enjoying this. Keep going. So to have the audience that you're targeting to actually appreciate you and to see it is it, it's cathartic. It keeps you going. You know what I'm saying? So it's essential, just like with anything. You want your supporters to be there. You want to know that you're doing what you set out to do, and just like getting reassured for anything that you do,
Yeah.
any that you want, especially for those of us that have a passion for it and just really love putting those stories out. And I love seeing, like, on all the book talkers or whatever, when they get excited about a book. And like Halo, when Halo was going around, I actually stopped and I was like, okay, I gotta read this, because what's the secret? I had to know.
Yeah.
So and that's just like with any consumer, and we appreciate it. And I think that, and I love TikTok, and I love the social media form of us authors being able to get and reach our audience. We connect with them. It gives us that added connection that the trap authors may not have, or they don't utilize. I'll put it that way. And so I think that also now and in the long run gives us an advantage, I believe.
Yeah. Are there any black authors, past or present, who have influenced or inspired your work?
So I will say past, Maya Angelou was what made me fall in love with reading. Because going through high school, I probably didn't finish anything that they told me to read because I couldn't relate to it.
Yeah.
I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings was probably the first book I actually finished. And I read cover to cover, and that's what made me fall in love with reading. And I honestly only read black books, and I've always done that because none of the other things interest me really. I don't connect to those. Like, I can connect, and I get into fantasy books because I love me a vampire and werewolf and all of that. But I have always supported black authors, and I feel like that's our space, and that's what I want to read about somebody that looks like me.
Yeah. I remember my first boyfriend, his mother had made us go see Maya Angelou recite. It was a recital of her saying "phenomenal woman" and reading from the book "I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings," because she told him, if you gonna respect women, understand them. And she made us go to that and had him sit there and listen, and then question both of us afterwards. Yeah, because black women do, raise. I digress. Okay, so so let's talk about social media, because I'm leading up to your books, because I have a lot of questions about your books, and because you be leaving me on the edge of my fucking seat and having me questioning myself and looking at people real funny. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So social media has changed the way books are marketed, discovered, discussed. How has it played a role in your career?
Like for me, especially like in the last year or two, I like social media. I think is what pretty much got me out there. Like being on this app, talking to people, seeing, doing interviews like this, because I you know, before, like I said, I wasn't really doing all the marketing, or I didn't have anybody marketing for me to do it, and then just me trying to do whatever I did by myself, it's not as effective as, you know, social media, people sharing, getting the audience, reaching other people, getting new viewers, like all of that. So it has let my audience grow for sure. I know that.
Mm.
Um and being able to get on here and see somebody talk about Signed in Ink and all of that, like it also has helped fuel me to keep going and to keep challenging myself to do other things. The Signed in Ink was actually an experiment because I don't really write with all those characters. Like I was apprehensive because it was so many characters.
Mm.
And it actually started as a Kindle Vella story because I was trying Kindle Vella. And I had started writing it and I was doing like a chapter at a time. And then I kind of fell off and it took me a while to get back to it. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to finish this story and then I'm going to publish it because I'm liking the story. Right. So then so because I had never written a book with as many characters as it had. And I was determined to not let it be confusing because I know a lot of people don't like a lot of characters and they get
Yeah.
confused with who this, that, and the other. So that was one of the things that it was a challenge for me to do because it was like, I want to try this. And
Yeah.
I think I like the way it came out.
I think when I love multiple points of view, I love when authors have multiple points of view because it's just to hear. Because sometimes we read books and we're like, but what about this other person though?
Right.
So I love that. But once again, if you don't like it, don't read
Exactly. That's true.
it. So what strategies have you worked for? What strategies have worked for you in building a readership from through social media?
So I think my most successful strategy right now, I think, would have been being a part of Bray
Mm.
and getting I had so I because before I didn't have like an email list, I didn't have a newsletter, I didn't have all of that, you know what I'm saying? So social media allows me to get all that out. You can sign up for
Mm.
my newsletter, you can do that, you know, and it allowed me to kind of build my audience and have a readership where I can actually reach them directly. So now that I have like this email list, and I don't bombard anybody. I send out a newsletter once a month. That's it. Beginning of the month, and then I'm done. But it helps me to reach the readers, especially like on here on Instagram when people tag me in books and or like especially with Highway 725, you
Mhm.
know, we got the peppers and the onions, we got all this stuff, and it kept me engaged with it, and it was hilarious with people, you know, going crazy about certain things in the book.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah. So do you think authors today um, can be successful without an online presence, or is it now a necessity?
I think it'll make it harder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that necessarily they won't be successful without an online presence, but and if we're talking about somebody starting out like a
Mm-hmm.
new author, they definitely need an online presence
Mm.
because there are so many authors out there that you have to have something that you people have to recognize your name at some point. They heard it from somewhere. They've seen it somewhere. They saw somebody, or even if they seen you online, that even if they scrolling through Kindle Unlimited, oh, I saw that name before. Let me read this book just because. So I
Mm-hmm.
think anyone new starting out, they do have to have some type of presence.
You've collaborated with some phenomenal authors in anthologies and co-written projects. How do collaborations come about for you?
So honestly, so all my collaborations, most of them, or earlier ones, have come from being a part of ICU Reading and Chatting Facebook group, and it's just because we had a bunch of authors in there, and so the freestyle cipher started from Freestyle Fridays, right? So Freestyle Friday in the group, Ebony will drop a topic, and we write. And I used to write every week. I used to write a story every week, and I was like, we need to just like take some of these and put them together. So I had been thinking about it, and I talked it about, and I'm like, but I don't really know how to do it, but we gonna see. So the initial one, the first one, I put up a post. I'm like, who want to be in an anthology? Let's just figure this out. And then the next one, I'm like, okay, it went smoothly, and that was actually the first time where I was kind of spearheading actually working with other people. And I was apprehensive at first, because you know how that goes with working with other people, but it went smoothly. Like, I still talk, we have a whole chat, we talk every day. Like, I have like author besties, you know what I'm saying? And before, it wasn't like that, and that's how Octavia and I got into the club, because we were in the group. I had written a story, and she slid in my DM, and she was like, ma'am, this story you just wrote. She was like, I really want to write with you, which I had already been thinking about it, but I hadn't gotten around to asking her or saying it, because I didn't know if she would want to. And she asked me, I'm like, absolutely, because I've been thinking about this. And then she started talking about that particular story, and I started rattling off my ideas, and she came right behind me, like filling in the sentences and filling in the end. I'm like, this is about to be great. And it was great.
So what do you think are the benefits of co-writing or participating in multi-author projects?
So the benefit is the readership. We cross audiences. We're sharing our core audiences pretty much, because there are people that know me that might not have ever read anyone else in the book, or just a couple, and then they get introduced to new authors, and really it's not without losing. It's like a win-win situation. I had this book. I know I like this author. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this one. I get introduced to a new author. So since first doing the cipher, I'm committed to doing one every year for that purpose, so that you have people that can get this and meet new authors without feeling like they're at a risk. Because a lot of people, especially we talk of just spending your money to buy a book with somebody that I had no idea about, never read. I never heard of this person. But I had this book that, just like with the Almanac series, we got L.K. sitting there, A.A. Lewis, so for me, especially like with, thank you. Oh yeah, you did get one. So that is an awesome lineup on there. So you got people that's just gonna buy that because L is in there. But they get introduced to these other authors that they may not have read, but they don't feel like they lost anything because they just bought it because anyway. So they really win, because now I got introduced to all these other.
Show that book again.
It's the 2025 Almanac series, and it's 12 stories, one for each month. Each author got a month to write about.
Yeah.
And in some way, they incorporate their month into the story.
It's good, y'all. It's good as hell. Do you believe that collaborations help build a sense of, because you did say about the new voices and introducing them, but do you believe that it also builds a community around the authors themselves?
Yeah, so it depends on how it's done. So just like with the freestyle cipher, when I put that together, I get the authors. We usually have a group chat, and like with my first one, we talked like almost every day, just bouncing stuff off each other, just learning different things, or let me try this out, let me try that out. And that's actually after doing that, that's kind of actually how we came up with the Zaddy Inc. series because we Renee had so Renee Wallace, she does covers and stuff too, and she had done like she was just playing around and did a AI something it was, but it was a bunch of like older guys looking like zaddies, and we was like, I said we should all write a book and just have a whole, and we came up with this whole basis of the escort service and everything just from talking every day about that. So yes, it does. Like we and like I said, we still talk to this day. And if anybody in that core group, when we have questions, we'll go in there and like, hey, you know how to do this, or what do I do about this, or what y'all think about this? We just the other day I was like, who's up? Because I need somebody to read this real quick. And so it does, and that helped me because again, me starting out, I was doing we do everything on our own. So it was just me. And then for me to have them to be able to bounce stuff off of just really gives me, it helps me and it fuels me. And then they give me ideas and I'm like, oh yeah. And and I can incorporate that. So it does give a sense of community.
So can you take us behind the scenes of Highway 725 and how it came to be?
So I know it's hard. It's funny because people that know me, know my writing, know Octavia, know her writing. I had one of my friends like, you wrote this part, didn't you? And I was like, no, I didn't. That was Octavia. That was not me. So like I said, sorry, my dogs. When she DM'd me and I was like, okay, this was the idea I had because I had just finished writing the cipher, the freestyle story, which the only part of the story that was already the freestyle was the part where she. One second. Mm. Sorry.
You're fine.
The part where
I got one just like that.
I have 4 dogs. The part where she tells her father what happened with her friend and how she's at dinner with him and she was kind of scared to tell him what she had done. That was the freestyle. It was actually Daddy's Girl or Daddy's Diary or something, which was the title to that. And that day, that's what my mind was on. She was scared to tell her dad whatever it was. And Octavia slid in my DM. She was like, girl, this story, I said, I know. And this is what I think gonna happen next. And that, because it was fresh on my mind. And then she came in and said, oh, and we could do this. And I was like, let's write it. And then we share a birthday. So that's where 725 comes from. Our birthday is 725.
Okay.
So that's why we were like, okay, we're going to make it Highway 725. It's going to come out on 725. This is what we're going to do. And she wrote the prologue, or she wrote the first two chapters, 2 or 3. I don't remember. But we literally did it in tandem. She wrote whatever she wrote. She sent it to me. I would read it over. I wrote what I wrote. I would write like the next 2 chapters, send it back to her. And we went back and forth. And then she was like, okay, it's time to wrap it up. And since, the story started with you, you should be the one to end it. I was like, okay, I got you. And that was it.
Wow. What things or messages, oh Jesus, what things or messages does Highway 725 explore? Girl, you see I'm stumbling trying to say this.
So one, I guess it's a lesson about cheating on your wife somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
It highlights like how people can be about grief. And I mean, if we think about it, Caesar was a little delusional because he was blaming everybody but himself. I mean, outside of what he did, outside of that, just his mindset was he was blaming everybody else but himself about what happened. Like it was Tara's fault. It was Riley's fault. Everybody else but him. Like he was like so gung ho on it was on her. But in the end,
Girl, you and Octavia got me looking at people real strange. Real strange. Like, she already had me fucked up with the bagger.
I be telling her I be all, I was like she'd be the one to write the crazy stuff. It's not me, but she was like, "Ma'am, you wrote this part," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Y'all, you know what? Y'all both. Let me drink my water.
So we, now we have come up with the idea. We are releasing a 725 something every 725.
Speaking of which, I saw there's another book in this. I'm calling it a series. I don't care. I'm calling it a series. There's another book in the series coming up. Can you share a little bit? And I'm scared. Can you share a little bit about what's next and when the readers can expect it?
Flight 725 will be released on 725. It's up for pre-order right now. And it is about a red-eye flight from New York to Los Angeles, and some things go awry on the plane. That's really all I can say.
You ain't even got to say so much. We already know it's about to be some crazy ass shit going down. If you ain't read Highway 725, you need to read that because goddamn it, just goddamn it. I'm just saying, if it get crazier than shit, see y'all gonna cause me to drink more. Y'all crazy. Psychologically, that is a psychological thriller. Y'all, I'm telling you, you gonna fuck around, have me living in a bubble. You're not gonna talk to nobody.
Yeah, so some things happen on the plane, and then yeah.
So, what author that you have not collabed with would you love to collab with?
Oh my God. Alexandria
House? I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. Yeah. What advice would you give to new authors who are just starting their journey and they are going in and they want to do multiple genres? What advice would you give them?
Just to not be afraid to do it, just to do it. So I would also tell them, depending on, they need to research whatever genre it is that they want to write and make sure that they know that that's where they want to be. But as far as, I would say, just don't be afraid to do it. You can try it. You might not like the genre once you get in there, and and we as authors, we critique ourselves so much that I would say to not be too hard on, don't over criticize either. But especially if it's a genre that you have, make sure to have a beta reader. That way, you can stay on task with, especially if it's a new genre that you're trying.
With you being a Black author, when you say beta readers, is it, especially if the topics are culturally related or topics that are dealing in the Black community, would you say you should have someone that is in the community?
Yes.
The book instead of just a random beta reader?
Yeah, so about beta readers, you need to make sure that the reader that you get is familiar with that genre also, because you don't want someone. So I'm writing a thriller but this beta reader only reads romance. They're going to be looking for different things. Well,
Mom about to beat they ass.
sorry. Because you don't want, if you're writing a thriller, you don't want someone that mainly reads romance to be the beta reader for the thriller. They don't know what to look for. Like they're not, their dots won't connect the same way.
What are that's one of the common mistakes that people make. But what are other common mistakes new writers make, and how can they avoid them?
The way to avoid them is to always have an editor and maybe a publicist or a PR person that you can go to that would know what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
New authors, I'm not like mistakes that a lot of people maybe they rush to get their stuff out without going through the editing process or sending it through other people. And maybe the categories, because again I still have trouble with categories, so they need to make sure that their book is categorized correctly, and you can always update that, and then they keep coming out with new categories and other stuff. Because I went and did something and then they had alpha male and I'm like, when did this come in here? So
There's an
you can
alpha
always,
male category.
yes there is.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I was like, when did that happen? So every now and then I go and update some of the categories on my books, because I'm like, well, maybe if they went over here, you got, and they keep adding and changing and doing whatever. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
I guess for that would be the main thing. I think and then to make sure that they market, you got to market. That's one of my biggest mistakes. I think I didn't have the right marketing in the beginning.
If you could go back and give advice to your younger self, your younger writer self, what would it be?
Oh,
Not the side.
probably to stay consistent. To be more consistent, also for myself.
Okay. What are the key things every indie author should know about publishing, marketing, and building a readership?
You can always build your readership. You can continue to build your readership, and you should always keep striving to do that. You keep reaching other people. As far as marketing, to make sure you do, and find different ways to market. And what was the other? I forgot.
Building your readership, marketing, and publishing.
Oh, what do they need to? So publishing. To do some research, we are in this Amazon clog machine thing. It's the most convenient, probably, and the most accessible, and they make it that way, but it's not the most lucrative for us at all. So I would say to research of ways to get your book out there, and not so you don't feel stuck in one place, pretty much.
Yeah.
As right now, we know how Amazon works. We all know, like at this time, it's been talked about what they give us as opposed, and it's kind of like, as an indie author, we kind of feel like it's like a rock and a hard place situation. Because like, especially when a newer author or anybody, because we got Kindle Unlimited. A lot of people only read on Kindle Unlimited, and a lot of my pages read, a lot of my is coming from Kindle Unlimited, but I so want to get away from that. And it's one of those can I do that? Like, can I pull away from Kindle Unlimited? Will I get what I, all the pages read? Is somebody gonna buy this book versus reading these pages?
Yeah,
It's like,
I
you don't
get
know.
it. I hope and pray, sending it out to the book universe, that somebody, I know K Renee is working on an app, but I wish that we could have an app that can pull away from Amazon and go into the pockets of somebody black.
Right.
That, I
And
mean, okay, wait, I take that back. Somebody black that actually is for the black community and the black readers and the black authors, no matter if they're traditionally or if they're indie. I had to rephrase that.
Mhm, mhm. I wish I knew somebody, or even I knew how to do that. And
Yeah.
I just don't. And I don't know who does. And I'm sure with all of it's somebody out there that can do it. We just have to figure out, tap into them, and they need to get with people to know what they need to know. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's somebody that can build it out just like they do for Kindle Unlimited or whatever, but they also need to make sure to get with the authors and the readers. What do you need? What needs to be here? So it I don't know what that looks like. I wish we could do it.
What? How do you stay? How do you stay motivated and disciplined in your writing career? And what tips would you offer to those struggling with consistency?
I can't tell you that because I'm not disciplined at all. I'm not, and I'm working on it. I'm working on getting more disciplined myself, but I'm more of like I have started like dedicating a day. I try to write every day now, especially when I have projects that I know I need to get done and this stuff. And I have, like I said, I got flight 725. I have the one that I'm trying to get this out by April. It's called Splitting Souls, and it's about a police officer investigating some murders in his town. But it's layered with a little bit of racism, and it has a big twist to it.
Of
And
course you do. Of course you do. I was waiting for it. Of course you do.
and so that's what I need to be working on now. So, but I started setting myself a day that I'm only writing or doing something book related, because I could be, but I'm trying to get this book done so I can release it in April, and we already we at the middle of February, so I need to really hunker down and get it done. But I'm one of them. I work better, a little bit better under pressure, because I have to, like, I know I got to get this done, so I'm going to actually make myself do it. But I have started setting aside my Sundays. That's what I'm doing. I'm not leaving the house. I'm sitting here. I'm writing. I'm doing that. So,
Are your books available across multiple platforms? Do you have a website? Which I prefer a website, your website, and then you can tell me about Amazon and all that other shit.
I do have my own website. It is KaylynHunt.com. And then I have a Square site where you can order all my books from Square, and I'll ship them out or whatever. Which, it's in my link tree. It's Skylar Publications at Square.site or something like that. I think it's a hyphen in there. Skylar hyphen Publications. SKYLAR Publications. But it's in my link tree.
Y'all heard that. Go to her website.
SKYLAR Publications. But it's in my link tree.
Y'all heard that. Go to her website first.
Actually, you can go to my website, because all my books are on there, and if you click on there, I think it takes you to the Square site to go ahead and order from there. So I got them all linked together. You're gonna get back to the same thing. So yeah, I do have a website with everything on there.
Do you have any exclusive like releases or upcoming projects readers should know about? So name them all, because I want to know all that.
So, this will probably be the first time I tell anyone this. We have an anthology coming out. Um, we haven't actually set a release date. I'm shooting for May, but it's another thriller. And the title right now, I'm thinking it's Vanished 6 days and six ways in 6 days. So it is a story about a mother wife that goes missing, and we follow what happens from the day she goes missing, the first day, through 6 days when she's found. But then there are 6 different endings.
Are you fucking kidding? Yo. When is this pre-order? Yo.
So I'm gonna tell you, it's myself, E-Ray Taronic, Kira and James, Tony LaRue, Kenya Moss Dime, and Tanisha Stewart.
Let me tell you something. Kenya Moss Dime is a crazy motherfucker. I got her books. I literally got her books. She is crazier than a motherfucker.
You read Progeny, right?
I read Progeny. I read the I can't even call it a vampire. Forever Eyes.
That's one of my favorite ones.
That she.
What can I think of it?
When
that's one of my favorite ones.
When you don't think of paranormal with her. You think of supernatural with her. She is straight up supernatural speculative, and that should be wild, wild. Woo, Jesus! Tell me the pre-order, ma'am.
I will. We're wrapping that up now, and I'm thinking sometime in May. So that's one. I'm writing Splitting Souls. I'm trying to get that out in April. We got Flight 725. That's coming out in July.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm missing something. It's another freestyle cipher.
Mm-hmm.
And I See You Reading book club, we are writing an anthology. All the members of the book club will be writing a story in an anthology, sort of like a cipher, for our 15th anniversary, and it will be released for the book event that we're doing. So that will be the book that everyone will get. Well, I think it's the first 100 people get with their purchase.
Okay. Look at you, ma'am. Okay. So, what platforms are you most active on, and what are your handles?
I am Kaylynn Hunt everywhere. So, I'm most active on Facebook, but I have a personal page, and then I have my author fan page. That's where I post all my author stuff on that page. But I'm most active on Facebook on my personal page, but people can friend me. I'm fine with that, but it's not public for the whole world. Instagram is Kaylynn Hunt. TikTok is Kaylynn Hunt with a 0. I'm on Fanbase. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't really post on those, but it's Kaylynn Hunt everywhere.
TK Vaughn asks, will that anthology that you having for the ICU event, will it be a digital book available?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you engage with your audience? And what can readers expect from following you?
So, I engage, anytime I post anything, if anyone comments, I'm gonna always talk back. Especially if you got a question about any of my books, whatever, I'm open to answer questions, do whatever. And especially anybody that wants to know anything about any of my characters, I'm always open to talk about those at any time. I'm on TikTok. I go around. I try to jump on people's lives sometimes. I'm me being on live, and I'm not used to doing that. So I have gotten used to being on here and making videos and doing these live interviews, because generally I'm one of those people that sit and observe. I watch everything. So, but anybody that you want to follow me, you're gonna get updates. Is if you friend me on Facebook, is generally where I keep stuff straightforward. I say a lot of things. Sometimes you never know what I post, because the other day I posted this whole story about this guy trying to talk to me at the bar. That was he went all into this thing about why was I cold, because I said I was cold and I was putting my coat on and off, and I was like, I don't want to eat my coat on. And he was like, what, you going through menopause, you doing this? He asked me if I had fibroids, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, yep. So there's no telling what you will get from following me, but you will be entertained.
Jesus.
And I got a story about something that happened today, and I'm not even sure if I want to tell it.
Why?
Because this guy that was trying to talk to me, will say that. First of all, I haven't spoken to him since January 1st, when he sent me a Happy New Year that I did not respond to. He texted me today and said hi. He was talking to himself. All these text messages came in succession. He said, hi, boo, one. And then his next statement was basically, I'm very attracted to you and I really want to fuck you.
I know you fucking lying.
And so on my Facebook status, that's what I put. I know you fucking lying. I gotta be getting punked, right? Oh, it gets better. A picture came after that.
Oh, wow. Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. That'll do it. What the flipping fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just random out the blue. Like, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
The audacity.
It must be something in the water. It got to be something in the water.
So it's more. So one, he's young. He's way younger than me. He's still old enough to know better. One, just to say that. And he was Albanian.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Woo! Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, do you have any book clubs, live events, special content you offer to your readers through social media? And could you tell us everywhere you're gonna be at outside?
I'm in the only book club that I really participate in is on the Facebook group ICU Reading and Chatting, which is EYECU Reading and Chatting, and that's where I'm at mostly. That's the group that I'm most active in but outside of that, I have my newsletter. I don't do anything live. Every now and then I put some up on. I very seldom do lives on TikTok. I come on here sometimes, and then I've been putting up videos. I also I help produce a podcast, Tam Telling Tales, so she does book reviews as well as interview some of the indie filmmakers in the city. So we talk to a lot of actors and directors and producers or whatever, all across all the indie movie films and stuff. So that occupies a lot of my time too. But I do a newsletter. Anytime when you order from my site or order a book from me, it's always goodies in there. Like we hardly ever just send a book out. You're gonna get something. Mm-hmm. Where I'm gonna be outside. So I cannot wait to be at the Boozy Book Tour. I'm coming to Tulsa next week. I got my Harlem Nights outfit ready. I'm ready. Here, I'm ready for the Harlem Nights. So, I'm gonna be there. I'm going to Miami in April, so I will be at the Urban Book Expo in April, and then the ICU Literary Experience here in Detroit in August. And as far that's pretty much all I'm gonna be outside this
She
so
said
far.
that's enough.
That's it.
She said that's enough.
Maybe later in the year, like if I maybe September, October, and I'm probably coming to Vegas. I'm so another part. I'm gonna start making movies. So,
She just gonna slide that shit in. Like what?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's another thing. So I'm gonna start making movies, and my schedule is getting tight. So I don't know.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. You not finna slide that shit with, ma'am. What movies? What we doing? How we support? What's going on here?
Okay, so Highway 725 has been turned into a screenplay.
Ooh.
I have someone interested in it, but we not sure if they're gonna actually try to make the movie. So one, depending on how that goes, if that doesn't pan out, I'm probably gonna do it myself. And I was trying to get it done this year, but then I had another opportunity to come up with someone else that's an author that's already made movies that needs investors, and we're gonna like do a collaborative thing for another movie that is supposed to start filming in August. And if I jump on that, I'm probably gonna push Highway 725 to next year, but it's gonna get made. That's the whole.
I love that. How can us as the readers support you?
So just keep a lookout when I start announcing stuff. Spread the word. Do whatever. I like Octavia's already read the script. She loves it. The guy that I want to play Caesar has already committed to doing that for me. And he loved the script. And he called me and he was like, please tell me you watch Dexter. And I'm like, yeah, I watch Dexter. He was like, I said, it reminds you of Dexter. He was like, yes. And that's one of my favorite shows.
You know, the fact that that's one of his favorite shows and he's enthusiastic about it tells me everything I need to know about him.
So if it does not, it's gonna get made.
Yeah.
Even if not this year, next year for sure. But so my calendar is filling up. But yeah, I'm trying to get into movie making. I started going back to school so I can learn a few things. By being in the space where I have met a bunch of the actors here, a lot of directors, and I've been on sets. I've actually been extra in a couple movies. It kind of made me want to go that lane. And then I have, like, even if I didn't come up with an original movie, like pretty much all of my books I can, because initially when I said, okay, I'm gonna write a script, I was initially gonna do Sign the Ink first. And then
I need you to do the Zaddy shit. Why you had to get Shamar Moore?
I have to find us. Yeah, we have to find the right Zaddy for that,
though. Or Method Man. Ooh. That's a Zaddy. I'm just saying.
You just ma'am. You
that's
yes. Yeah. Method Man could absolutely be Dimitri. Oh yes. Yes.
I'm just saying.
He can absolutely be them. You are absolutely right. Yeah.
Just saying. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
It was a great conversation, and I love talking to you. I still think y'all crazy.
Maybe a little bit.
And I love your work. I love your books. I can't wait to meet you in Tulsa so I can purchase your books.
Yes, ma'am.
And I look forward to seeing everything that you're gonna do.
Thank you. And I appreciate your support and I appreciate what you do and supporting all of us. You really do a great job. And I commend you for that interview the other day because baby, you kept it together. I'm glad you kept it together. And yeah. Cause I was over here like, I'm glad I wasn't on the live. I saw it, I watched it on YouTube the next day, and I was like, had I been on that live, I could just imagine what the comments looked like. I was like, oh no. No.
Yeah, it is what it is. Now I'm just gonna get right back to the books. Can't let nobody
Yeah.
steal the shine over the books.
No, ma'am. Mm-mm. But I do thank you. I appreciate it. I had a good time. I can't.
Anytime.
I can't wait to meet you next week. So
Yes, because we got a lot to talk about.
yes.
Because that Zaddy series, man, I'm just saying. If y'all have
I
not
was
read her
excited about
catalog,
that when I wrote that one. I was excited about it because I was like, "Oh, I got this whole storyline," and it just, I
girl,
loved it. Yeah, and I was like, "This is a little more spicy than I was expecting it to be," but this is how it came out. I,
I loved all of that. The fucking, sucking, bucking, everything. All of it. All of it.
yeah, I
All of
enjoyed
it.
writing it. I was like, "Oh, let me take a break." Okay, yeah,
It
it
was
was good.
her whole catalog is good, y'all. It's all, every book, and y'all need to
Yeah.
get into like Highway 725. Y'all need to get into right here. Just read this right here. So can y'all see it? Yeah. Y'all need to get into this. Y'all need them ciphers, bruh, are so fucking good. Yo,
Thank you.
you are welcome. Hey, when I say I be reading y'all shit, I be reading y'all shit. For real, for real. But thank you again, and you have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye bye.